It was nearly midnight when Alex, the resolute leader of a small group of urban explorers, stood outside the rusty gates of the Rosewood Hotel. The once grand facade loomed menacingly in the dim glow of distant streetlights, its broken windows like watchful eyes piercing the night. With the camera strapped securely to his chest, Alex began the live stream. "Welcome to our latest adventure," he whispered into the mic. "Tonight, we face the infamous Rosewood Hotel and uncover the truth about its most chilling legend, the elusive seventh floor." Inside, the air was stale, thick with dust and decay. The walls, covered in peeling wallpaper and graffiti, closed in like a twisted tapestry of neglect. Each creaking step reverberated through the corridors, echoing a dull whisper that seemed to beckon them further into the shadows. Alex led the way, his flashlight beam slicing through the darkness, revealing glimpses of opulent decay. Chandeliers swaying gently, velvet drapes hanging in tatters, and a once magnificent ballroom now overgrown with mold and silence. As they approached the elevator, the group fell silent. It stood at the end of the hall, its doors agape, revealing a black maw that promised both adventure and dread. "They say it never stops at floor 7, Alex said, his voice barely above a murmur. "But that's what we're here to prove." With a collective breath, they stepped inside, their reflection distorted in the tarnished brass mirrors lining the elevator walls, a reluctant audience to the unfolding tale. With a groan and shudder, the elevator jerked to life, and the explorers felt a lurch in their stomachs as they ascended. The digital numbers above the doors flickered erratically, struggling to display their progress through the building's heights. Cameras were trained on the panel as each number was mechanically ushered into place. But when they reached what should have been the 7th floor, the display faltered, flashing nonsensical symbols before leaping to 8. The fleeting moment sent a ripple of unease through the group, an almost imperceptible shift in the atmosphere that made the air feel heavier, darker. "There it is," Alex said, trying to sound unfazed. "Just a glitch, right?" But as the elevator ascended higher, the sensation of being watched grew overpowering. Eyes seemed to peer from the mirrored walls. Or was it just their own distorted reflections, growing ever more unreal in the shuddering light? Finally, the elevator came to a stop. The doors slid open with a reluctant chime, revealing a corridor swallowed in shadows, thick with a silence that seemed to hum with hidden anticipation. "We're at 8, someone whispered, though their voice trembled with doubt. The group glanced at each other, each silently questioning the reality of what they were experiencing. Before stepping out, their footsteps echoing like distant cannon fire in the oppressive stillness, the 8th floor of the Rosewood Hotel opened into a labyrinth of forgotten opulence, a decaying nod to its illustrious past. The walls here, draped in faded elegance, were adorned with portraits of stern-faced figures, whose eyes seemed to follow them through the shadows. An inexplicable coldness seized the air, curling around them like a sentient mist whispering secrets of bygone days. As they moved through the corridor, their lights flickering over ornate sconces and abandoned room service trolleys, each explorer felt the magnitude of the tailies surrounding them. Alex could sense it too, a presence that lurked in the foundations of the hotel, not content with mere legend, but wishing to be seen, acknowledged. Despite the chill creeping into their bones, he pressed onward, determined to document every facet of their journey. Near the end of the hallway, the group paused outside a door, left slightly ajar, as though inviting them in. The number plaque on the door was missing, leaving their imaginations to fill in the void. With a deep breath, Alex pushed it open, revealing an untouched tableau of a suite, trapped in time. The heavy drapes billowed slightly, as if stirred by a non-existent breeze, and the antique furniture lay shrouded in thick layers of dust. As the room exhaled stories of forgotten life within its hollow silence. Once inside, the group relaxed marginally as they began their inexorable exploration within the dusty suite. The room was eerily preserved, a relic displaying the opulence and extravagant lifestyle of its last resident. Old newspapers lay scattered on the side table, headlines blaring disconnected stories from an era long past. The fireplace, cold and unused, still bore faint ashen traces, whispering of ghostly gatherings. In the silence, it was easy to imagine the faint strains of forgotten music, the low swell of conversation, the tinkle of glass against glass, and the sweet lilt of laughter, sensations lingering like spectral fingerprints of a night that had never ended. But even as they tried to conquer their unease by rooting their own time amidst the old grandeur, an intangible tightness pulled at them. It felt as though the room itself drew breath, tasting their presence like an unfamiliar visitor. Alex, filming diligently, was drawn to a bookshelf, partially obscured by the drapery's shadows. As he pulled at a volume, a thick cloud of dust unfurled into the air like memory made manifest. Beneath the echoes of the falling book lay a dusty, leather-bound journal. It bore the unmistakable aura of a secret its owner had once sealed within these walls, secrets now begging to be uncovered, marred only by the twisted urgency that seemed to permeate the air. The journal felt heavy in Alex's hands, its leather cover worn smooth by time, yet imbued with an ominous significance. He opened it, exposing yellowed pages scrawled with inked chronicles. Words babbled across each page, documenting a descent into haunting madness. An account of a previous guest, driven to the brink by relentless whispers and visions tied to the enigmatic floors above. The author described ethereal footsteps echoing in the night, reminiscent of ghostly dances in the halls and loud, desperate pleas arising from an unseen abyss. There were sketches, too, of places that should not be, staircases spiraling into infinity, and tormented faces peeking from behind hidden doorways. As Alex read, a chill seeped into the room, anchoring around his fingertips as he turned the pages. The group huddled closer, transfixed and terrified. The final entry was a frantic scrawl, almost illegible. The note spoke of the author's realization, their compelled urge to witness the truth of the missing floor 7. A compulsion they could neither understand nor resist. The last words, repeated over and over, were a chilling plea. Do not ride the elevator. Do not trust what you see. That echo, signed in desperation, left a heavy gaze upon them, and for a moment the walls of the room seemed to lean inward, as if listening to the story being unveiled. As the group silently absorbed the tense aura of the room, a sudden noise pulled their attention. A soft, yet insistent, rhythmic tapping echoing from the hallway, like heartbeats resonating through distance and decay. Each sound felt familiar, yet unsettling, and grew louder, as if drawing nearer with each moment. Hesitant, Alex gestured for them to follow as the group moved cautiously towards the door. As they stepped past the threshold back into the corridor, the tapping abruptly ceased, replaced by an all-encompassing silence, thick as the shadows that enveloped them. They paused, exchanging looks filled with wordless queries, before the distinct shiver of a draft stirred the air, threading unease through their bones. The realization dawned upon Alex with a dizzying rush. Whatever lay beyond visible reality here within the Rosewood Hotel did not merely watch and follow. It sought to communicate. It was a reminder that their presence was acknowledged, perhaps even anticipated, by whatever forces governed these haunted hollows. Unsettled, yet driven, the group moved onward, steeling themselves against the psychological dominance of their surroundings. As they navigated towards the origination of the mysterious sound, they passed through corridors that seemed to shift with whispering whispers. Places once teeming with opulent life, now merely echoing voids. The air itself felt heavy, as if only the fading memories of the past sustained the structural integrity of this ghostly mirage of a building. Each step felt both inward, descending a psychological staircase into obscurity, and forward, drawing closer to some forbidden epiphany. Then they saw it. A nondescript door at the end of the hall, conspicuously ajar against the canvas of dimness. It looked oddly new against the decaying antiquity surrounding them, as though it had been untouched by time and wear. The sign above read distinctly "Maintenance," but invited a curious aura around its periphery. Instinctively, the group halted. Alex resumed streaming, conscious of the numerous online gazes and perceptions that hung onto their every discovery. With calculated caution, Alex gave the door a tentative push. It flung open into voided darkness that seemed both oppressive and inviting. As their flashlight cones flickered and danced within the blank space of the room, they discerned a secondary entrance, a stairwell leading fastidiously upwards, suffocated within the shadows. Inclined by paranoia, yet urged by curiosity, they began their ascent, feeling drawn towards whatever rested silently at the top. The stairs creaked underfoot, their protests echoing sorrowfully through the shafts of darkness as the group climbed cautiously upward. Each step felt misleadingly infinite, a perpetuating cycle of motion in stillness, activating a dizzying paradox in their perception. The air grew colder, denser, and with it, the oppressive silence was punctured sporadically by untraceable whispers curling around their consciousness. An unmeasured series of stairs then unraveled into a platform, a landing veiled in a somber shade that saturated their senses in mystery. The ambience shifted here, as if they had breached an unseen threshold, marking a convergence of deviant timelines. A corridor yawned open ahead, ramifying into dimly lit rooms that blinked into perception like uncertain memories. Something malevolent whispered from the darkness, weaving threads of forgotten time in beckoning loops. Alex led them forward, his camera drawing in an overwhelming sense of alteration, transcending the boundary between watcher and watched. This was not simply an extension of the hotel, but a manifestation of combined intent, crafted by a past reaching for substance within a reality teetering on fiction, each moving shadow broadening into their light felt tangible, alive, as though thresholds within dreams themselves unraveled into doors promising unseen horrors. They found themselves in a place that felt eerily otherworldly. The architecture stretched beyond comprehension, looping corridors and staircases, tapering into unknowable destinations. The reality grew suspect, reinforcing the idea that in meddling with legends, they had pierced through into something altogether new and extraordinary. Here, the air hummed with ethereal energy, invisible strings vibrating, contributing to an unseen symphony, spectral harmonics that teased the edge of sanity. A door at the far end beckoned, marked by lucid dreams and distorted reality that awaited their discovery. The group moved forward with palpable trepidation, understanding they were trespassing through a realm crafted by the very myths they sought to explore. This place, aiding the myths of the past, was alive, each echo and whisper crafted from the memories of an era, both cherished and feared. An amalgamation of ghostly consciousness still woven into the hotel's fabric. As they approached the door, the feeling of being others' puppets, compelled by the strings of curiosity and fear, gripped them tightly, enforcing the timeless truth that legend, once stirred, does not return quietly to slumber. Alex reached for the handle of the door that had drawn them with an inexplicable pull. The creak of its opening felt like an exhale of anticipation. Beyond lay a room saturated with captured time, an ornate space disorientingly preserved from its highest moment of living history. Luxurious furnishings defied the encroaching decay present elsewhere, though layers of dust hinted at the years passed unnoticed. In the center of the room stood an elaborate set of controls and monitoring equipment, unexpected relics from an era eager for progress. Screens buzzed and flickered erratically, displaying grainy images caught between discordant moments of past and present. Glitches accentuated by vibrant phosphorus reflections, lighting the room in an eerie luminescence. The air around them vibrated as if sharing a secret, a presence hanging overhead. A weight born of knowledge lingered. It was here control of perceptions between reality and myth was wrestled over, directed by an unseen guide intent on drawing their story in directions unknown. As the monitors blazed with static, Alex and his cohort understood they were enthralled by the enigma of Floor 7. Their entry into this realm marked by a truth beckoning from shadows, disturbing and real.